Thank you very much.
All right. It's back to you guys in Abuja now. We continue that conversation, this time from NEMA's perspective.
Thank you so much. And had that conversation around the situation in Sudan. We're being joined by Dr. Onimode Bandele, Director, Special Duties, National Emergency Management Agency. He joins us virtually. Dr. Onimode Bandele, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Good morning. Let's delve in real quick. You heard the representative of NANS, the Vice President of Public Affairs, talking about the situation in Sudan. And it's worrying, particularly in the sense that Nigerian citizens and students especially are still stuck there, but those in the Foreign Office, in the embassy, have been evacuated. Can you confirm that? Have those in the embassy been evacuated?
Good morning once more, Nigerians. The truth is, nobody has been evacuated yet. I just spoke to the ambassador Olaniyan in Khartoum some few minutes ago. It is true that there are plans to get buses to start movement tomorrow morning. And as I speak to you, the Director General, National Emergency Management Agency, Mustafa Habib, is already in Cairo, because that is the window that we are looking at. We have a town called Luxor and another one. So the movement is to be perfected between the embassy in Khartoum and the DG NEMA, who is already on ground in Cairo.
Okay. One would wonder, this situation escalated around April the 15th, but it's taken almost 2 weeks for anything to be done about Nigerian citizens and the evacuation. It's not a natural disaster. Can you tell us why it took so long for something to begin to happen from the Nigerian government side?
Well, from the conversation we had with the ambassador in Khartoum, when the situation started, it was not sensible for anybody to start any movement. And there was a total lockdown in that country. It's just a few days ago now that they got window. And this window they got, they still have to tread softly, because we don't know what the situation might be. Let me quickly remind you that even countries like France and Qatar tried to do some movement on Saturday. Because of the security situation, they had to beat a retreat back to Khartoum. So as much as we feel the pain of our citizens, we feel we should do it right so that we don't have casualty on our side. So that is where we are as of today.
Now, you spoke about evacuating to Egypt. What's the distance between between the Egyptian border and to Sudan and the Ethiopian border? I do know that the distance to the Ethiopian border is about 400 kilometers or thereabout. Which one is closer? And just explain to us why the choice of Egypt instead of somewhere that's considered a little bit closer.
The distance I may not be able to say, but when you're doing consideration evacuation, you have to do this evacuation considering security, and it has to be in a dignified manner. So the choice of Egypt should have come up because of the consideration of the people on ground here. So I will not be in Nigeria to tell you this is why Egypt is chosen as a preference.
We just got off the phone, or I don't know if you can hear me now. We just got off a Zoom conversation now with the Vice President, External Affairs at NANS, as a Student Association. And
that's correct.
Yes, I'm sure you must have been following the conversation, and he did confirm to us that they have concerns about students who have been able to make their way to the Ethiopian border, but have not been able to get past that border as a result of visa issues. I do not know if you were previously aware of that particular situation, and what you now plan to do now that you might now be aware of what is happening at the border.
Thank you very much. We are aware that some of our students self-evacuated to the border, about 10 of them, and the ambassador in Ethiopia has sent a note verbal to the government of Ethiopia to please allow these citizens to pass through their country. As of yesterday night, we spoke and effort is still ongoing. We are aware they are there. But what we're advising is, please, communication should be directed to the embassy in Khartoum, because they are the sole representative of Nigerian government in that country.
So how will the students know when this note verbal has been received by officials at the border? If the conversation is going on between Khartoum and the officials in Ethiopia, how will they eventually know when the note verbal has now been processed and they're able to get through?
Working of government, where the embassy in Addis Ababa is not going to leave them to themselves. So they are going to follow up on that. Once that is gotten, I'm sure staff of the embassy will reach out to these students at the border town. But we'll keep talking to them to be sure that we get the right information at the right time.
So you're confirming to us that tomorrow it is guaranteed that movement by road is going to start. Is that what you're saying?
As confirmed by the Nigerian ambassador in Khartoum, yes.
How many people are we looking to evacuate? Because we understand that about 5,000 students have applied or shown their interest to be moved out of Sudan.
Well, our projection was both students and others who want to evacuate about 5,000. But with my discussion with the ambassador this morning, the plan is for about 2,600, 2,800 to move immediately, including families of embassy staff.
How many? I didn't quite get that figure. Please, would you kindly say that again?
I say about 2,650 to 2,800 are expected to make the movement tomorrow. As these plans continue, we'll be able to update you the actual figure and exact time of departure from Khartoum to Cairo.
Okay, so let's talk about relief materials, because we understand that students, even the Minister for Foreign Affairs yesterday appealed to Nigerian students in Sudan to stay indoors. We understand that students are currently indoors. However, they're running out of food and other necessary materials to keep life going. Are you thinking of any way to provide some relief whilst you're also hoping, to make the arrangements for them to be able to leave?
Like I said earlier, what is paramount to us now is safe evacuation of this Nigerian citizen to Egypt. And in addition, I told you the Director General of NEMA is already on ground in Egypt. So those other parameters will be looked into and provision will be made to ensure that these people are evacuated safely and in dignified manner with the provision of all necessary assistance that is possible.
Okay, so evacuation is your focus right now, not the provision of relief materials.
They go hand in hand. As the movement is being supervised by the embassy in Khartoum, those on ground in Egypt too will be making provision for immediate relief once they arrive before they are transported to Nigeria.
Let me send this to my colleagues in Lagos.
Well, thank you, Markwe. I just want to know when last you were in touch with those students and others who are seeking to be evacuated, because we understand that there's been some sort of network disruption. So are you constantly in touch with them? Even if, we can get some relief materials to them now, at least maybe calls, messages to them would go a long way in showing them that we're with you and we're coming to get you. So in terms of that, how much work has been done and when last were you in touch?
I must confess to you, I have not spoken to any student directly. And like I said, communication with our citizen in Sudan is the primary responsibility of the embassy, especially the ambassador. And from our discussion, he is in touch with them, and I'm sure that is why he's sure that when the evacuation kicks off tomorrow, he will have as many of the students as possible on board.
Clearly, NEMA will be playing a huge role, as we've seen NEMA play in the past for these evacuations. For the benefit of those maybe family members who might be watching and may want to pass the information, I don't know if there's some sort of information channel for those students as well. What time is that evacuation happening? What is the process? Are they going to stay indoors and wait for the buses to come to them, or they're meant to converge at a particular location for that evacuation to happen? Just in terms of those fine details, can you maybe give us an insight, timing?
Thank you very much. I'm in Nigeria. I'm handling the home leg here, but I can confirm to you that the embassy in Khartoum are doing everything possible to ensure that those who are to be evacuated will be evacuated in dignified manner. And the timing is a function of when these people are already in a particular place and movement can start. Mind you, to move 2,000 persons at a time poses a lot of security challenge, and I'm sure those nitty-gritty are being worked out by the ambassador in Sudan.
Just to be clear, I mean, you've confirmed that the evacuation is taking place or starting tomorrow. But what the minister told us, which you already confirmed also, is that we need some form of confirmation, official confirmation from the Sudanese authorities. Have we received, can you confirm if we have received that official communication from the government?
I'm sure the ambassador, His Excellency Olani, will not push out that information for students to prepare for evacuation if there is no guarantee from the home country. However, I cannot state clearly who they are discussing with, but what we are sure of, there is a process that has begun for us to bring back Nigerians from Sudan.
Okay. Well, just a quick one here. I mean, you said just now that you are handling the home leg of this evacuation. What's the plan when they arrive? What is the plan for the students? We understand that some of them are sponsored by their state governments and all. What's the plan when they arrive?
The process for home reception is, excuse me, get a dignified place to receive them, make provision for meal, and assist the students to get back to their home by provision of transport fare. That's our process.
This morning and your contribution. But just a quick one. You've said, you've used the word dignified manner a couple of times in the conversation so far. Can you please help us understand what you mean by they will leave in a dignified manner, especially since there's a crisis situation around?
If you are moving your citizen, you must give them the minimum comfort that is required for them to make that journey. Whatever will be a stress to them, you remove it and you work against any bottleneck in the course of evacuation. That's why we say dignified. You don't load a bus that's supposed to take 50 with 100 persons. That's not dignified. So that's what we are saying. A bus that's supposed to carry 50 will carry exactly 50. They can stretch their leg, they can move around, and they get to their destination safely.
So we're hoping that the desire to give them a dignified exit will not be a challenge in itself in the evacuation.
It shouldn't be, because the population is worked according to the number of buses. And the number of buses will determine how many can move at a particular time. But like I said, if you're evacuating in a situation of internal crisis like we have in Sudan, you have to be mindful of the number of buses in your convoy so that you can easily manage it security-wise.
All right, thank you very much. Dr. Onimode Bandele is a director, special duties, Nigeria Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, speaking to us about the situation in Sudan. Thank you for coming on the show this morning.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Sunrise Daily will be back in a moment. Please don't go away.